Welcome to another edition of Diplomatic Channel. I'm Amarachi Ubani. In early February, the Minister of Interior, Mr. Olubunmi Tunji-Ojo, assured Nigerians in the diaspora that the pains associated with renewing and getting their Nigerian passports would soon be a thing of the past, as a multifaceted approach is underway to ensure seamless and efficient passport processing system. The federal government promised to roll out enhanced e-passport facilities at selected Nigerian embassies across the world as a test run of introducing the system to position Nigeria as a leader in technological innovation within the African continent. According to Mr. Tunji-Ojo, the enhanced e-passport compliance with all International Civil Aviation Organization standards ensures international recognition and security. During an inaugural 2024 Diaspora webinar lecture series organized by the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, NIDCOM, the minister reiterated the commitments of the Nigerian government towards delivering seamless and efficient passport experience for Nigerians within the country and in the diaspora. It's still early days, but Nigerians in the diaspora are getting very impatient and are wailing that their experiences with passport renewal has not improved for the better. Getting the passport in Nigeria is difficult enough as it is. I have my own personal story, and so have you and probably people you know. But it's been much harder for Nigerians living outside the country. I'll be speaking to a few of them on the program. They're in the United States, where Nigeria currently maintains 3 diplomatic representative offices in Washington, Atlanta, and in New York. There are over 700,000 Nigerians living in the United States and counting. So imagine that number with all sorts of passport problems. Some of the experiences we're going to hear today are the experiences of many others. Find your narrative and tell us about it in the comments section on YouTube, on Instagram, on Facebook, and on X. The addresses are showing on your screen. I want to bring in now UN Peace Ambassador and representative of Nigerians living in Arlington, Texas, Pastor Femi Kajogbola, and founder, Peniel Investment and Development LLC, Ibukuola Otinwa, and diaspora specialist at FTK Consulting, Francesca Kaile. 3 of you, you're welcome to Diplomatic Channel.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good morning.
Good morning. Well, it's morning for you where you are. Let's begin with Francesca. So we're discussing, the process of trying to get a new passport or renew your passport, in the United States. Tell us, your experience and why we're here.
I'm representative of Sterling Bank in America. I have the privilege of being able to enroll people for BVN. And in the process of doing that, I've had a lot of Nigerians with expired passport. And one of the challenges that they face the most is the fact that the consular offices in America here are in limited locations. We don't have one here in Texas, not less in Arlington. And we have a very large group of Nigerians here in Arlington. We had a passport drive, or a passport renewal drive about 2-3 years ago. And over thousands of Nigerians returned back because the line was real long. They couldn't really get to a point of having biometrics done. It was a cumbersome experience. And many thousands of them went back home without having their passport renewed. A lot of them they are undocumented to a point where they don't even have a document to be able to prove their nationality, talk less of even being able to get to a level of having their identity here in the United States. So it's a really, really frustrating and challenging experience for us Nigerians here in diaspora. We are really looking forward to an opportunity to be able to have it a seamless process. We're looking for an opportunity to be able to have a consular office close by us here where we can be able to get our documents up to date and have things in proper perspective. So, I can go on and on counting what the benefit of having your up to date or your passport being dated is. But I'm sure we all know that. But without the initial step of you proving who you are as Nigerian, you cannot even get to the next level of saying who you of doing anything else in the United States. So it's a frustrating experience, and
What,
we are
what
hoping we
about
can
for you?
get.
What about for you? Have you ever had to renew your passport in the U.S.?
Absolutely. I
What's
had
that
to
like?
travel to New York from Texas. I had to make an appointment first. It was a very long-winded process. I had to first make an appointment online, go through a process of getting payment. The payment process was very cumbersome. But in the long run, I made an appointment to go to New York. Getting to New York, I had to stay an extra day. And I didn't plan to stay an extra day in New York because they couldn't even see me on the day that I had an appointment for in New York. So I had to stay an extra day, which took me away from what I had to do here in Texas. So again, it's either you go to New York, you go to Atlanta, or you go to DC. And these
And how long
places
did
are
it
far.
take before you got your passport eventually? From the time you applied up until the time you finally got it?
It took about 3 months.
Yeah, Ibukwala, let's come to you. Tell us your experience. Perhaps you probably applied, to get your passport renewed. What was that like?
Well, my experience is very bitter. But let me start. My name is Bukunlu Altinwa, the founder of Penn Investment and Development LLC. I talked to Pastor Femi, being the president of Arlington Nigeria Visitation Day. So he's one that will be a spokesman to Nigerians in Arlington. I said, this is very, very bad to me because my passport has expired last year, February. And for me to go and renew my passport, it's going to cost me over $1,000, including the air ticket, hotel accommodation, and so on. And for me to leave to go to DC, New York, or Atlanta to renew my passport, spend that kind of money is unfair. Where we have somebody like him that can be a spokesman to us to talk to the federal government or the general consular of immigration officer or the minister for interior and foreign affairs. So I said, well, I don't think I can afford that kind of money to spend to go and renew my passport where Texas is the heartbeat of the Nigeria. Texas is where we have the largest population of Nigeria. And where we have Nigerians, government cannot have a whereby we can process our visa, passport. And for us to go to travel down to New York, Atlanta, or DC is unfair to us and is a slap to we that live in Texas.
So
So
if I'm
instead of
understanding
he's going
you,
to
sorry, if I'm understanding what you're saying, the $1,000 is transportation plus visa processing fee, the whole gamut. If you have to go through all of it,
excluding passport fee, just only your air ticket,
okay,
accommodation,
okay,
excluding passport fee.
okay.
So
So let's.
$1,000 plus is a lot of money, whereby I can put it on my business. And for me to live where I'm living, travel down to other states to renew my passport, I will forfeit my time of my business. I will forfeit my money and the risk for me to travel. And it's unfair. Even though I have his friends that he wants to renew passport for about 5 kids. He said, man, could you know how much it's going to cost me to do that for my kids, myself, my wife? That's a lot of money. Then why should I go spend that kind of money whereby he can use his American passport to travel? So it's like pushing everybody away to come down to see their family back home. So if I can pull out $1,000 plus just for me to go and renew my passport expired last year, February. And I talked to Pastor Femi that this is very painful because
So,
we look up to you
but let's
and we expect you
let's
to
go
talk
through
to the
your
government because you're close to the
experience.
government.
Let's go through your experience. So your passport expired in February in 2023.
Last year.
February
Yes.
2023. When did you apply to have your passport renewed? And did you apply online first of all before making that trip to New York, or did you have to go all the way to New York to begin the process?
I've not made my trip. It's going to cost me $1,000 plus for the trip. Either I go to DC, New York, or Atlanta. It's going to cost me $1,000.
Yeah, but
And
do
I
you
told Pastor
do you have
Femi,
the option of starting the process online? That's what I want to understand. Do you have the option of starting the process online and then completing it in New York? Is that the way it goes?
30% online is not the issue because you still have to travel to do your biometrics. But the cost of the money, that's what I'm talking about. Okay. Not 30% is not the issue. Okay, like here now, I don't need to go to immigration office. If you're an American citizen, just walk down to the post office and renew your passport. You don't go to immigration office, you renew your passport at the post office. Under 2 weeks, maximum 3 weeks, they will mail it to your house. You just pay your money at the post office. So why ours is so different? That we are the one that have the larger population, Nigerians in America, that we are the ones suffering it, travel down to other states to renew our passport. Do you know what I'm saying? So I've not started my processing online because I know if I start my processing online, it's going to cost me over $1,000 to travel down and the risk my business, my time, my everything. So who will not pay me back those over $1,000 because I want to renew my passport?
Okay.
Do you feel my pains? So this is how I explain to Pastor Femi that you are close to the government. We look up to you. So if you cannot fight for us, it's very painful. We have a lot of Nigerians that they want to come home for maybe for Christmas time or maybe Easter to spend time with their family. But because of that money, man, I can't spend that kind of money. Just a friend of mine that have 5 kids. Imagine how much it's going to cost him to fly those 5 kids down to New York, DC, Atlanta, including himself and his wife. 7. That's a lot of money.
So, Pastor Femi, your name has come up. Bukola has mentioned your name a couple of times about you speaking to the federal government on behalf of Nigerians who live in Arlington, Texas. So many Nigerians live there. A lot of them are interested in renewing their passports because they still want to maintain identity with Nigeria. Tell us your experience, the kind of stories that you're receiving, the kind of complaints that you're receiving, and what you've probably done so far.
Thank you so much, Amashi, for this opportunity to bring out what we are going through in Arlington and Dallas. I think this thing started last year when we have Nigeria Arlington. I think that's where this issue came up regarding people calling about they don't want to renew their passport. They have tried. Some people say what is going on, that they have tried their best because Atlanta, New York, Atlanta, and the other state is very far from them, that they cannot be spending so kind of money before they can renew the passport. That there's what we call passport intervention. What is passport intervention is that to call up the government, the immigration officer, to come down here. They can spend like 3 weeks, 1 month, so that people can gather like 5,000, 10,000 people. Then they can be able to renew their passports without stressing themselves. And by the grace of God, I've wrote a letter to the Minister of Interior. I've wrote a letter to the Controller General before she retired, and nothing has been happening. We have not heard anything from them. So people are really going through a serious problem here. In order to renew their passport, it became so difficult for them to do. Okay. That's the problem we have been going through. A lot of complaints from different places, from different angles. Just to renew their passport, they find difficult because of the distance, because it's too far from them. So they want something around them if they can intervene.
Your story is pretty unique because you still have an expired passport. That's the problem. But the Minister of Interior, late last year, I believe it was in October, said that we're going to start off e-passport services, which was supposed to make things easier. So have you tried? Have you explored, that alternative? Perhaps he also said that hopefully in the next few months, passports will probably be delivered in people's homes, after they have been processed.
A lot of people that are Nigerians, they have their kids here. Oh, daddy, mommy, okay, I would like to go and see my motherland, to go and see Africa, this. They cannot travel because they don't have Nigerian passports. And for you to get a Nigerian visa for any citizen here is not easy. The same process, you have to travel down to New York again. So how long do you want us to continue to live that kind of life?
Pastor Femi, you've tried to, call the attention of the government to this. You've sent a letter to the Ministry of Interior. You sent a letter to the Ministry of Immigration. You've gotten no response. What are you planning to do now?
Well, what I'm trying to do, I'll see pushing. Like somebody said, when you are dealing with government of Nigeria, you don't relent. You keep pushing maybe because of their busy schedule. Sometimes they may have a lot of things on their table. I think we will not relent. We keep pushing, believing God that God is going to intervene on it, praying by the grace of God. We are praying also for the government of Nigeria, that God Almighty will help them. Yeah, despite their whatever that is going on in Nigeria too, they will have time to come to rescue us, to come to our aid at this time, to come and what we call passport intervention. We will not relent. We believe that very soon something will be done by the grace of God. That the government, no matter what is going on right now in Nigeria, I know God is going to intervene on it so that they will have time to pay attention to us here in diaspora, especially people here in Dallas, Arlington, so that they can come here and do passport intervention for the people here.
Pastor
That's what
Femi,
we are believing.
have you tried renewing your passport recently? Have you tried?
Yeah, I did. Like last year, in fact, the process, I renewed my passport at Atlanta because I'm about to travel. But last year, November, I was in Nigeria. But before that, I have to, even though I do what we call express, that's it.
That's
I
more
have to do
expensive, isn't it?
express, going to another
The
agent.
express.
It was agent, like what my sister said. It was the agent through second. You have to go through agent.
Wow.
You can't just, because when you do it on your own, there's a lot of work. I mean, maybe the process is not right. You have to go to somebody that can understand it very well. Because if you do it on your own, you have some challenges. So I have to go through agent, pay the agent. I have to buy my ticket to Atlanta, spend 2 days before I'm able to do my biometric.
And
Honestly.
how much did this cost you? Could you give us a range? You may not want to.
Yeah, I think the last time I go there, it's about with my total everything's going about 1,500. That's the truth.
Those in the UK say it's much easier now, having to renew their passports, all thanks to the kickoff of the processing, the new processing orders given by the Minister of Interior. What hopes do you have that things will get better under this new seamless issuance of passports that the Minister of Interior has said will take place in the next few weeks? He's made a lot of promises. He wants Nigerians to have a seamless, process of doing this. For those of us here in Nigeria, we're awaiting that. But for those of you in the diaspora, it must be a lot more difficult. So what hopes do you have that this is probably the answer to, some of the problems that you have? Was it something you'd like to explore, despite the distance that you have to travel?
Let us believe that something positive is going to happen very soon. By the grace of God, I believe, with all this, I think they will listen to this too. And I believe they will put something positive will soon happen by the grace of God. We will not relent. That's my word. I said the other time. We will keep pushing until we have a good response. We'll keep talking. We'll use every medium to reach the government in Nigeria. We will not relent. We believe they will listen to us. We believe that something positive will soon happen by the grace of God. So that we'll keep telling people, with this video now, I believe most of people here in diaspora, they will watch this video. They have listened to many things we have done. I've showed them the letter I've wrote. I've used as an ambassador, I've wrote them. As a pastor, I've wrote them. I've used all area to reach out to the government. I believe very soon we are going to have a positive response by the grace of God.
All right, Francesca, I guess you're the last but not least person that we're speaking to. Your
I am
response,
optimistic.
your hope, yeah.
I'm optimistic and hopeful. I mean, you can never let hope die. It's very important for you to have that, keep a hope alive in everything you do. If it's working already in the UK, because UK is always the first ground. I did live in the UK before, so it's more of a testing ground before anything transcends into the US. So if it's working in the UK, I believe the process will, transcend. Although because the United States is a larger place, it may not necessarily be the same success process that the UK gets that we're going to get here in the US.
I believe it will work but they should consider the time frame. And my advice is to try and learn the way America renew their passports. You don't need to go to immigration office. You just walk down to the passport office. Post office. Pay your money at post office, and they will take everything they want to take, and they will send your passport to you within 2 or 3 weeks. I did that for my wife, 2018. We just walked down to the post office. On that, in fact, it's not up to 30 minutes. They finish everything. That's okay. Expect a passport in 2 weeks' time, and we receive the passport before 2 weeks. So we can learn from that. And my advice to we Nigerians that we should always learn on something that makes things easy for us, not in a hard way. And I know the minister is really working hard. And based on what Pastor Femi told me too, that the minister is working hard to see how to make passport issue easy for us. And I believe that in the next few weeks, everything will be okay for us.
Well, I will add next few weeks and hopefully next few months. Thank you so much, Ibukunlua. Thank you. I think I've been mispronouncing your name. I apologize. Francesca, thank you so much. Pastor Femi, I appreciate all three of you for joining me on the program today. Thank you. And hopefully we'll have an update. We'll reach out to all three of you again and, just take your pulse on what's really going on. Thank you once again for joining us on the program.
Thank you so much for your time, Sue.
Thank you for having us.
God bless you, man.
The federal government of Nigeria has commiserated with the government and people of the United Republic of Tanzania over the passing of former President Ali Hassan Mwinyi on February 29, 2024. A statement from the Ministry of Foreign Affairs says the late president will be remembered as an astute and influential politician who contributed significantly to laying the foundation for Tanzania's economic development. The statement closes by expressing the federal government's support for Tanzania and the family of the late president through the period of grief. The Canadian High Commissioner to Nigeria, Dr. Jamie Christophe, has emphasized the need to partner the Nigerians in Diaspora Commission for a mutually beneficial partnership and collaboration as regards migration management between both countries. Dr. Christophe made the comment during his visit to the NIDCOM chairman, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa in Abuja recently.
That diaspora, I want to thank you.
He said he and his team are ready to support the Commission with opportunities, time and expertise to achieve better managed migration.
Canada will continue to ensure proper migration, migrating the right way, and we're proud of Nigerians in Canada.
Meanwhile, the chairman, Nigerians in Diaspora Commission, Mrs. Abike Dabiri Erewa, has been recognized as the first Nigerian recipient of the esteemed Bridge Builder Award by the Diaspora African Forum Awards 2024 in Ghana. The accolade celebrates our tireless global advocacy for the diaspora community, marking our significant contributions to fostering peace, inclusivity, and unity within Nigeria and internationally. Founder and head of mission at DAF, Dr. Eriaka Bennett, lauded Mrs. Dabiri Erewa's dedication and expressed admiration for a long-standing commitment to Nigeria's diaspora. She described the NIDCOM boss as a dynamic force and a beloved figure, emphasizing her role in bridging connections between Nigeria and its diaspora. Israel has demanded that Hamas provides the names of hostages abducted on October 7 still in its custody, ahead of a planned ceasefire deal on Monday. Mediators and Hamas officials are in the Egyptian capital Cairo for talks on a new ceasefire, as Israel is reported to be demanding reassurance on the hostages' fate before attending. Israeli media say Hamas is refusing to say which of its hostages are still alive, so Israel will not attend.
This is where we end the program this week. Thank you so much for joining us. I'd love to read your comments, especially on your passport renewal experience, whether here in Nigeria or in the diaspora. You can send them to @Amarachi Ubani on Instagram, Ubani Amarachi on Facebook, and Amarachi_Ubani on X. I'll see you next time.